I'm Travis Brown, husband, father, speaker, coach, business owner, entrepreneur, and this is my story. I'm born and raised in Lafayette, Indiana, and my parents divorced when I was 2 years old, and I spent most of my time with my mom, her teaching me just about what it was like to struggle, but also to make it. You know, growing up in Lafayette, Indiana, there wasn't a lot of people that looked like me, but the thing that made it easy for me was sports. I was 12 varsity letters, played varsity baseball, basketball, and football all 3 years. It was something that hadn't never been accomplished. I was blessed with some athletic ability, but I worked hard. It gave me a mentality of if you put enough hustle and enough grit into it, that you can make it. And so when I look at the success that I've had in business and in life, it's going all the way back to what I learned as a little kid playing sports. I was a football scholarship athlete, and I decided one night to just pack up my stuff and leave. I didn't like the environment that I was in. I didn't think that it was healthy for me, and so I quit. I had another opportunity when I was at Purdue to play, and then I quit again. But in all seriousness, that became one of the biggest scars of my life. To chase a dream for as long as I could remember, to want to be a great athlete and want to play at the highest level, and then walk away from that. Then you started realizing that not just for athletes, but how many kids were making poor decisions because they didn't have the right family in place or they didn't have the right mentorship. So after college, I was left having to scrap and to find ways to make it. I remember when I was working at the pawn shop making like $7 an hour going, how'd I get here? Like this wasn't the goal. And so I had to make some changes. And so I started to surround myself with people that thought different. At age 21, I got in the mortgage business, and some people believed in me. I then started my own company and got a little bit probably ahead of myself and wanted to get out and just prove that I could do it. And unfortunately, that business failed. I was able to sell it and then went to work for another company for several years. And that led me down this path of money and greed and being so driven that you're willing to lose everything. And that everything for me was my family. And that led me to a divorce. I had a daughter at the time that was my heart. And I thought, man, as a dad, you know what? I could still be a good dad, but I didn't realize what I was sacrificing. You know, as a Christian man who has a lot of faith today and had been exposed to that all of my life, there's nothing about my faith that was leading me. And I think when you're at the bottom sometimes, that's when you have to decide who you're going to be. And you got to decide, well, what do you really want? And that led me on the path to go, okay, then I got to rebuild it. But I got to do it the right way with the right priorities. I never wanted my kids to feel like my dad would rather go save the world and not be here for us. And that was a tough decision because I was so passionate about what I was doing. But I also wanted to be here for my kids and my wife because I wanted to make sure I was building it the right way the second time. And one of the things that whole lesson taught me was the value of having the right people in your life to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And in fact, when I started to become a motivational speaker at the youth level, my whole goal was, how could I help a 16-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 21-year-old Travis Brown make better decisions?
I don't think it hit me until he came to my school and spoke what he was doing exactly, and it became a huge deal.
I look at the stage I share with Nicolas Cage, and I could start talking about celebrity after celebrity.
I would always brag about, oh, my dad's in California, he's in Kentucky, he's in Florida.
I was on CNN and Headline News and ABC and NBC, and they had all those features to do the cool things exactly the way that you want them. It was just amazing that I, like little Travis Brown from Lafayette, Indiana, was on that stage, sharing those messages And in my mind, I believed that I was changing the world one student, one person, one speech at a time.
He did his MTV episode, and then after he came home to be able to talk about it and watch it and really see the lives that he was changing, I think that's incredible and something that I initially didn't realize how big of a deal was, and then realized like he is changing lives and been moving things.
Through that speaking experience, I had the opportunity to meet my best friend, the love of my life, and my wife, Bree Brown.
So we met in September of 2010 at Camp Belzer, and Travis was speaking there that day.
She came up asking questions, all social media checks, email checks, website stuff, and she was going all in at that point.
I think that we had a level of transparency with each other from the very beginning that you don't see in a lot of relationships.
We were just kind of straightforward. It's like, here's what I need, here's what I want, here's what I'm looking for. I'm not willing to play these games. I'm not willing to jump through these hoops.
If it wasn't going to work, it wasn't going to work. And so you might as well just put it all on the table and see.
It was the start of a long process of learning each other and learning how to communicate directly, which we both do, without being so offensive.
He wants the best for me. There are times when he's in the mindset of leadership coach, and I push back a little bit because I feel like, hey, like, you're my husband, you're supposed to take my side. But the truth is, he's probably more on my side, and that's why he presses me a little bit harder. One of the most important things about him as a husband is that I know that he's not ever going to give up on this. And so even in the toughest moments, we know that we're going to push through.
When I look at our relationship today, I'm so blessed to feel like I have somebody who supports me and wants to grow with me. I mean, she's been my biggest cheerleader and my greatest critic, all in one. When I think about Bree as my wife, I think about how much she has supported me through times when, it'd been tough for most women to support me. When I think back to our first date, we always joke about this. 10 years ago, our first date. And I was so broke at the time. I was like, man, I hope this chick doesn't order like a Coke and some extra food because I won't be able to pay for it. And 10 short years later, our life is completely different. And, I think we both would agree that without her, supporting me and without me supporting her, we wouldn't have what we have. The kids, we wouldn't have the relationships. We couldn't have those without each other. All right, cross. So I'm a father of three. My oldest, Jayla, graduating high school. And I have a 7-year-old, Carter, who is just full of life and learning what that looks like. And then my little guy, Braden, 4.5, who's just fire. So I remember Bree thinking, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. What would I be like as a mom? And initially I was scared. She's just so hardcore. Seeing how much she's changed as a parent, seeing how soft her heart is, seeing how much she loves them, it actually challenges me to be better.
Travis is such a great dad to our kids. He does everything from stay out till the wee hours of the morning with Jayla to go to concerts of sometimes artists that he's never heard of before, or get on the floor with superhero dolls and play with the kids.
My dad is fun. My dad is fun.
His love for them is pretty incredible.
Run, Brayden!
He certainly takes the role of spiritual leader in our home.
I know that without him and how strong he is in his faith and how he's put it on all of our siblings to believe in God, to pray before dinner, to pray over your friends, to pray over your enemies, to keep going and pursuing God has been incredible. That is something that I can't ignore and I can't dismiss.
When people ask the question, why do you do it? Why do you get up every single day? For so long, I saw people that had this challenge. They had a great product or service, but they just couldn't get enough people to buy it, to consume it, to hire them. I realized that I had an ability to coach people through that process. And so each and every day, I'm excited to get up and actually do that. I've been a business owner and entrepreneur, motivational speaker and trainer, personal brand business coach, author, podcast host, and today I'm the CEO of Mojo Up Marketing and Media. Most of the things that I've done in my life come back to understanding that people have greatness inside them, but there's always something that prevents them from getting them there. And so when I was a motivational speaker, it was around helping people believe in themselves so that they could achieve something.
It's about helping others, no matter what field he's been in. At this point in his life, as a coach and a marketing strategist and brand manager, all of those titles that come with it, his goal really is to help people be the best that they can be so that they can also achieve their dreams. And I think that's kind of been the underlying message in everything that he's ever done.
Most business owners, entrepreneurs, sales executives have a challenge of getting their message to people. In fact, we have a saying that most people don't fail because they're not good at what they do. Most people fail because not enough people know how good they are at what they do. And in today's business world, there's so much busyness and all the digital space that's out there. It's hard to tell your story. It's hard to get your message across. And we just specialize in packaging up that message and telling a story around who you are and what you do and why people should work with you. I'm going to fall in love with the person behind it before I'm ever going to fall in love with the logo. That's what good marketing does. We just literally unpack where they are today, what their future clients actually see about them. And then we go and we start building their strategy. Here's a strategy that's going to take. We dive deep into the message and the avatar and all those things so that they have a concrete strategy. And then we help people launch it and get it online, on social media, in email campaigns, live on your website, in all of your collateral. And then the last thing we do is we help people grow. Once you've done that, there's a lot of tweaks and a lot of adjustments that need to be made over time. And we work with our clients all the way through that process so they can see the success that's important to them. My name is Travis Brown, and I'm a personal brand coach. And I spend my days building personal brands that help people make more money.